I have seen firsthand a lot of the impact that this is having in Arizona families. And there is a lot of need. We know fam- families lost their main breadwinners from due to COVID, affordable housing, childcare. So we know there is a lot of need, and this is going to be very beneficial to Arizona families.
You said you have various examples of people that you know personally. Can you give us an example, perhaps, of a single mom or a two-parent household?
Yeah, so just last week I was at a community meeting and I was actually talking about the child tax credit and creating awareness. And a family came over and they're like, we've been living out of motel for the last couple of months because we haven't been able to find affordable housing. And they have 4 kids. So this money that they received and they will continue to receive will help them gather, the first the first month's rent and a deposit to be able to find a stable home to live. Another single mom that she unfortunately lost her husband due to COVID, and he was the only one that worked. So she was having a really hard time getting back into the workforce, and this money is helping her get on her feet. And I'll just end with another example is I am a single mother, and due to COVID and everything that happened, my son is really behind in school. He needs tutoring services. So this money will help me pay for those services. So I am benefiting from the child tax credit as well. So that is going to be a tremendous help for everyone.
And without the tax credit, how might you have been impacted?
Well, to be honest, I probably wouldn't have been able to afford those services because it wasn't in my budget with everything that's going on. I wouldn't been able to afford it. So those are just a few examples of how the child tax credit is benefiting us.
There are some cases where people are choosing to opt out of the child tax credit. What does that entail? Why is that happening?
So I think there is a lot of confusion in the community right now. First of all, some families think that they have to pay this back. That is one of the things that we're seeing. Another thing that we're seeing is that some families are planning to buy a home or they need a car, so they're just saving it till the end of the tax year so they could get the full lump together.
Georgina, is there a concern that some families are getting used to this extra money and this child tax credit, and therefore, if it does expire, they will be set up to fail somehow?
Yes, and that is another of the things that are the organization Stand for Children that I work for, that we are creating awareness, right, and making sure that families know this is a one-time thing, but also sharing their stories, right, with elected officials, sharing it with our senators, because we have to make sure that we make this permanent because we know that this is a way out of poverty. Families, they're using this for school supplies, some families just to get by from month to month, and even some families getting out of debt. So it is very important that we make sure that we are creating awareness in our community, but also advocating to make this a permanent change.
I would imagine you're also educating families about not wasting this opportunity and not going out there and buying these special gifts or vacations that they might have wanted a long time ago.
Right. And from my experience and what I've heard from families is some families, they're using this for food, for childcare, for, getting out of debt. And one of the other important things is the child tax credit this one time is eligible for non-filers. So for example, if you don't make enough money to file for taxes, but you have kids, you're still eligible for this payment. So that is another thing that is really benefiting those families that don't even make that much money.
Georgina, as it currently stands, when is the child tax credit due to expire?
So the child tax credit doesn't really expire. What expires is the extra amount that the Biden administration is giving. So the advance payments that we're receiving from July to December, and then the other half we're receiving the next tax year. What happens is if this is not made permanent, then basically it goes back to what the usual amount is. We wouldn't be getting this advance credit from that we're getting from July to December.
Okay, any other issues that Stand for Children is working on right now?
Yeah, so we are working on, creating awareness for the child tax credit, but we're also working on making sure that every child has an equitable education because we know that education funding in Arizona is lacking. So one of the other things that we're working on is making sure that there is education funding for every Arizona student.
Okay, Georgina Monsalvo, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.